What's up, guys? My name is Miles.
And my name is Fez.
And this is The Commodity. And today we are reacting to, is Manny Pacquiao the greatest of his generation? Now, obviously, Manny is from the Philippines. So we know that, at least from what we were told, whenever he would fight, like the entire country would sit down and watch him fight. So we thought that was pretty cool.
However, the greatest of his generation in boxing, probably. I mean, I'm not a huge boxing fan, so for me to say anything otherwise, I've watched two of his matches, one against Mayweather and one against, I forgot, like some Latino boxer. I was kind of forced into it. I'm more MMA person.
Right. Yeah.
So I just know there's a lot of crookedness in boxing, and I don't mean in Manny Pacquiao's boxing. I mean, just in general, like the whole thing is very dirty sport.
Yeah.
Like it's very money driven and crooked and
corrupt. Yeah.
Corrupt. Yeah.
Guys, before we hop into this video, if you would go ahead and give it a thumbs up. It truly helps us out in getting this out to more people. Also, if you would go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification icon. That way you guys can stay informed on our future videos. And if you'd like to help support the channel even more and get an exclusive YouTube short shout out, click the join button down below. So
let's take a look at
check this out. Now,
I am a little scared that this video won't make it. So just a heads up, if you've seen this, it made it, but there's a good possibility it won't due to it being a sport and a lot of controlling people in it.
The pride of his homeland, a master of his craft, and the last remaining giant of his generation. To consider Manny Pacquiao as one of the best fighters ever going into 2020 stands as somewhat of an understatement, attaining unparalleled achievements within the sweet science and standing as one of the world's most influential figures. And so, breaking down the argument for Fighter of the Decade, the story, as expected, narrows down to two contrasting figures. A record-breaking and era-defining rivalry, which saw two men from opposite ends of the globe mesmerize the entire sporting world. Here we break down one side of the argument by summing up Manny Pacquiao's incredible achievements over the past 10 years, a span that has seen revenge, redemption, and rewards beyond our wildest expectations. Please click the thumbs up button, subscribe, and press the bell button as we look at why Manny Pacquiao could be considered the fighter of the decade. Welcome to a Motivedia presentation.
That was a really cool intro.
It really was. So when did this get posted?
This video was from 2020.
So we're talking about 2010 to 2019 is what I'm guessing.
Yeah.
As far as fighter of the decade, considering that 2020, we are going to name our fighter of the decade, and I think he's retired. I don't even think he fights anymore.
Right.
So, in fact, I would say he was retired for the majority of the last decade that I remember, like because that's when
I think he was fighting quite a bit.
Let me just take a quick look at. Let's see here, Manny. How do you spell it?
Pacquiao.
Fights. Boxing. Let's see here. Professional boxing record. So. Okay, no, you're right. He fought a lot in the 2010s. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 and 2. 5, 6, 7 and 2. 7 and 3. 8, 9 and 3. 9 and 4. 9, 10, 11, 12 and 4. That's damn good.
And that's all the way up to 21.
Yeah.
His last fight was.
Well, I didn't count the 21.
Oh.
Because I'm counting everything for the last decade. Now, to be perfectly honest, I don't know any of these fighters besides Floyd Mayweather, Yeah, that's pretty much all I know. Antonio Margarito. I think that's the guy I was like kind of forced into watching because I think it's because he's Mexican.
Well, and it looks like it was
2010.
It was at the Cowboys Stadium too.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
It was right down the road.
Yeah. So a lot of my friends were watching it, and they just invited me to come over. They didn't even tell me why I was coming over. Had I found out it was boxing, I probably wouldn't have went over.
Right.
Again, it has nothing to do with Manny. I'm not into the sport. It just isn't for me. So he's legit.
Oh yeah.
Pacquiao started out the decade following one of his career best performances against Miguel Cotto.
I like how they shake it.
Who do you think wins that fight?
Pacquiao is a quick starter, and if I had to lean towards a fighter, I would say Pacquiao.
A night that saw him crowned the first ever 7-weight world champion in his move up to welterweight.
That reaction.
However,
he got
the
his
year
ass
opened
kicked.
with bad news, with Floyd Mayweather negotiations breaking down, ruling out a 2010 mega fight.
You will not fight him if he doesn't agree to the drug
Like I
test.
said before, we focus on Mosley. That's what you
he's
guys.
not answering the question.
Instead, Manny opened against tough Ghanaian fighter Joshua Clottey.
I know who I am, and I know what I can do. So I don't think any opponent can take me right.
And as expected, he dominated with blistering hand speed and tireless work rate.
Bang, bang, bang!
Taking every single round.
You seemed reluctant to exchange punches with him. Why was that?
Yeah, because you see,
He was punching me in the face.
8 months later,
You seemed reluctant taking punches with him. Why? Well, you see, he was fast.
And it hurts to get punched in the face, so I'm good.
Pacquiao signed the deal to make yet another sensational move up in weight. This time, a 154-pound bout against ill-famed Mexican fighter Antonio Margarito.
Yeah.
Seemingly unable to miss, fans saw a boxing clinic in another of the Filipinos' most mesmerizing performances.
That's a pretty big guy you just beat up. What was that like?
The night of the fight, I was 148 pounds and Margarito 165 pounds. The commission asked me, "Are you going to defend your title?" No, never mind, give it to them.
Now 8 world champion, Pacquiao entered 2011 with an air of invincibility.
But it's amazing how he succeeds beyond the wildest imagination.
And it's cool that he can represent the Philippines through this.
Yeah. And that's what one thing boxers really do, or fighters, athletes really, is they love representing their countries.
Right. Yeah.
So-
And obviously, Manny did an amazing job at that.
Yeah. Helps when they win.
Yeah.
And it showed as he scored another landslide victory, putting 50-fight veteran Sugar Shane Mosley onto a survival mission.
Okay, I think I've heard of him.
stop debating about this, Shane. We see it's that way.
Next, in a night billed as the 25th round, the Filipino faced previous 2-time opponent Juan Manuel Marquez. Though, in what was supposed to erase all doubt from the previous 2,
Manny, did you think you won the fight when the bell rang?
It
all
looked like he
doubt
was
from the
laughing.
previous 2.
Right there, right before he got hit.
Though, in what was supposed to erase all doubt from the
Right
previous
there.
2,
Manny, did you think you won the fight when
It
the
looked
bell
like he was
rang?
laughing.
You thought you won the fight?
Yeah, that's why we have a third fight.
the third fight brought even more controversy.
They're so evenly
Scraping a
matched.
majority
Yeah.
victory after an all-out war, Pacquiao moved to 54-3-2.
we always have distractions.
Like based off of that highlights alone. See, one thing I guess is all in all sports, never leave it to the refs, the zebras, the whatever they call them in boxing,
The judges.
The judges, yeah, leave it up to the judges, the referees, whatever it is. You never leave it up to them because he could have lost.
Right.
Based off the 2 little highlights that we saw, it was very equally matched.
Yeah.
So he could have lost that fight had he had one of the judges decided, not no mood for him today.
Yeah.
Usually the distraction don't get to Manny, but something got to him this time. It was a close fight.
Was it?
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Shame on you.
6 months on, 2012 sparked another dramatic trilogy, the first bout against Tim Desert Storm Bradley.
I'm not gonna lie, I was scared. I was scared out of my mind.
See Bradley doing his best.
I respect that he said that.
Get to him.
It's always like after, like that's one thing about like the good athletes, the great athletes. If you ask me, the later on in life they kind of ground themselves because they realize they're not the most important person in the world anymore. They're not like Mike Tyson's probably one of the best examples.
Right.
Worst attitude when it came to just the way he treated people when he was boxing.
Yeah.
Now you can talk all the trash you want to him and he'll be like, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I was a moron. I sucked back then.
Yeah.
Or, man, I should have, who was it that he bit his ear off? And he was like, yeah, my bad. Like, now he jokes about it. He's like, all right, I sucked. I was a bad person for a lot of my life.
Right.
I had my goal in mind, but at the same time, it was just like, how hard does he punch?
Down goes Morales.
How fast is he?
Fast. Amazingly fast.
This time, despite countering effectively and doing visible damage, the decision went against Pacquiao in a controversial split decision.
And new WBO welterweight champion of the world, Timothy.
Took his title.
So I'm not trying to speculate anything because I didn't watch this fight. It's a video about Manny Pacquiao. They're going to show the highlights that Pacquiao did well.
Right.
So, I mean, I assume nothing. I guess nothing. I just want to put that out there. Like, I'm not on either side. It showed the highlights of one side.
Well, it's showing that he lost.
Well, it showed the punches were done by Manny Pacquiao.
Right.
So I'm like, obviously he did something good too.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so,
it's a video about Manny.
Yeah, that's why I was wanting to like put it out there. Like, obviously it's a video about Manny because they only showed Manny highlights. Like,
right.
That showed good highlights.
Think you won the fight?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Adding insult to injury came his second loss of the year, this time in dramatic and unquestionable fashion.
Back and tries to roar back to nail Pacquiao with the right hand.
Damn. That sucks.
The harrowing sight just before his 34th birthday echoed all the signals of a finished fighter.
Yeah.
Refusing to accept his decline and ignoring media criticism, Pacquiao's return was imminent. And from late 2013, the next 12 months saw an emphatic comeback. The Filipino overwhelmed Brandon Rios in China with speed and movement.
He uses that right hand better than any southpaw I can remember. Look at that. A combination, but he always starts with the right hand.
Convincingly ended Tim Bradley's undefeated record in their MGM rematch.
Backs Bradley up. Goes to the flurry again. Hard left hand by Pacquiao.
Wailing on him.
And destroyed Chris Algieri at the back end of 2014, scoring a total of 6 knockdowns.
I feel bad for reacting to something that I know one
Manny's
person.
power is very surprising. He cuts good angles, you think you're safe, and you're not.
Which leads us to the big one. After 6 years of anticipation, billed as the fight of the century. One that, due to never-ending negotiations, became more aptly...
When did they say this fight was? 2015.
One that, due to never-ending negotiations, became more aptly taglined, better late than never.
Did you watch this fight?
No.
So did you at least hear a lot of the even for me, I was like, because I was into it when they were first talking about it, like 10 years earlier, 5 years earlier, whatever it was. And, 5 years in boxing is like an eternity.
Right.
And you're taking guys, both of them, like, all honesty, Manny Pacquiao or Floyd Mayweather, they're both out of their prime at this point.
Yeah.
Like, Floyd Mayweather is just trying to stack his fights. He's fighting much, and I'm sure Pacquiao's doing the same. I don't know. As they're kind of fighting lesser fights to pack their when they retire, they'll look a lot better type stuff. Because he was going for the 50 50-0
right
wins.
But to be fair, he's still holding titles.
Yeah, but he's not like competing for said titles. He's not letting people fight for those titles. Because the last
so he's
time,
not defending the titles.
No, he's retired. Who?
Pacquiao.
Oh, see, I don't know about that, but I know that, for instance, Floyd Mayweather is not fighting giving up any of his titles.
Right.
He's fighting exhibition fights at this point that are out of his weight class and stuff.
Taking the first 3 rounds across the board, Mayweather gained
I don't
early
even think
momentum.
this was a title fight.
And with Pacquiao's lackluster punch output, the subdued southpaw lacked his usual energy and aggressiveness, enabling Mayweather to pick his shots, avoid any meaningful damage, and ride out a wide victory across all 3 cards. Disclosing an injured right shoulder and unsatisfied with the decision,
although there was a problem with his shoulder, whether it existed or not, I always said there was wait. No, hold on.
Pacquiao remained insistent on his eventual rise towards another world title. And so 1 year later, with Floyd now retired at 50-0, Manny's journey restarted with a 3rd victory over Tim Bradley.
He used his experience against me, his ability, and he won the fight tonight. Congratulations to Manny Pacquiao.
And a clinical beating of Jesse Vargas to see out 2016.
And does that work?
He's a very experienced fighter. I give him credit. You know, he's a legend.
8 months on came that memorable night in Queensland, Australia. A night where, despite a career-best performance from Jeff Horn, boxing fans witnessed what would be considered amongst the worst decisions of the decade.
And noon, Horn Scullings.
Though again, refusing to show any disrespect,
Thank you to all the fans who came here. Thank you so much to all the Filipino people.
the setback would only further motivate.
I do like how humble he's stayed. Like on the fights that he's lost, like he hasn't looked pissed off or anything. Like, and then right here when he lost, and what this guy just said was one of the more crooked matchups when it came to the judges. Like even after that, he's still thanking the fans and everybody for showing up, and like he held no ill feelings towards him.
Right. So what it says on the Pacquiao fight or the Mayweather fight, he lost the WBO welterweight title for WBA. So they unified two belts. So they both had I guess a welterweight title, and then they unified them together.
Gotcha.
The ring and welterweight titles. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then he re-won the vacant WBO, lost it, won it. Yeah, you can tell when somebody's in their twilight. He goes back and forth like that. Everybody has a downturn. It just happened.
The Senator. And straight back in at the deep end. In mid to late 2018, Pacquiao took on another Hall of Famer in form of hard-hitting Lucas Matisse. And rolling back the clock in violent style, he put away the Argentinian in the 7th, sending a shockwave throughout the boxing world. Which leads us to the last and even more impressive 12 months, in which the Pac-Man catapulted himself right in with not only the division's very best, but the pound-for-pound elite, beating two young, live, and hungry champions in Adrian Broner and Keith Thurman.
Do you feel like they're underestimating you?
Man, okay, I'm trying to tell you. You might get punched, Brian.
Broner brought his usual trash talk, was beaten by activity.
Pacquiao lands a lead left to the body of Broner.
And accuracy.
Oh, and there's the left hand that backed up Broner.
With Pacquiao's continuous barrages of punches.
In favor of the winner, and still WBA welterweight champion of the world.
Whereas Thurman dropped in the first.
Oh, down goes Thurman!
Struggled to find his feet into the middle rounds.
Oh, good right hand left hook by Thurman.
Providing too little,
Boxing's pride of the Philippines.
too late. And so now, becoming a 4-time welterweight world champion and standing as the only fighter to have ever been a world champion for 4 successive decades.
I'd like to know how old he was in that last fight. Obviously, I could look it up, but gives us a way to communicate, or does it show in here?
He was 40 years, 215 days.
So almost 43 years old.
No, almost 41. He was 40 years and 215 days.
I thought you said 42.
No, that was his last fight, but that was in 2021.
Does it say how old the other guy was?
I'm sure we could click on him. Keith Thurman. So what year was that he fought? 2019
or 19.
So Keith Thurman is...
Because they said that guy and the guy prior were both...
30. So he's 30.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a... they were super prime in their career.
Well, he was. Manny wasn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Manny was super late in his career.
Yeah.
The last 2 fights they just showed were 2 guys that are...
Yeah, that was his first loss, too.
Really?
Was against Manny. He was 29-1.
Wow. So his only loss.
29-1-1. He has a no contest, which usually means that somebody was disqualified, and then he had only lost that one
say
fight.
His whole career, say he's 29-2. I mean, that's
crazy.
And at the end of Pacquiao's career, he could still take on that. That's awesome.
Yep, that's very cool.
Manny Pacquiao holds unparalleled achievements in a movie-like roller coaster career.
I wonder if they'll
One
make
that,
a movie.
for generations to come,
That'd
will
be dope,
reflect
actually.
humility, determination, perseverance, and endear the pride of an entire nation.
That was really cool. I really hope it can upload. I hope none of my talk comes off as trash talk. It literally I'm just not a boxing fan. So I can get behind a human being, and based off of the stuff that I've heard about him, he's a phenomenal human being. He's a philanthropist. He gets involved in politics. However, when we were doing a lot of the political stuff with the Philippines, a lot of people are very against the idea of him running for president of the Philippines, which I can also understand. I don't want any athlete, as much as I love him. I take that back. I'd let The Rock run for president.
Okay.
Dwayne Johnson is the one exception. Typically, I would not want anybody to run for president that's an athlete, because just because you've done something like good as a representation,
right?
What that doesn't qualify,
right?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I've talked to people about just having like a random guy just because he was like a Navy SEAL or something else. Like, that was his reason, like his justification to run for office. Like, I need you to have some type of history of understanding politics in general.
Right.
So just because you're a Marine or a Navy SEAL or you've done something badass in your life doesn't qualify you. Let us know down in the comments if that's how you feel. Do you want him to be the next president, or do you not? And do you think he should keep on fighting? Is he still classic Pacquiao? With those questions being said,
my name's Miles.
My name is Fez.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Peace
out.